well. It is great to be here, and having a special guest, Sacha. Do you want to introduce yourself today? We're going to talk a little bit more about your organization and what you're doing. So glad you're here. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Sasha Francois Happel, and I'm the executive director of Denver Sister Cities International. And we have 10 sister cities throughout the world that partner with Denver, and we do exchanges between our communities on youth development level, cultural affairs, and then citizen diplomacy, which is pretty open. Government exchanges, citizens, businesses, sports, the list goes on and on, but it's an amazing thing because you bring people together. It creates peace in the world. That's our mission. That's what we have, cultural understanding. And
Yeah, I saw some stuff about it and I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. It reminded me, like, we were talking a little bit off, in the green room before coming on. In 2013, I went to China for a church trip in Beijing and up in Inner Mongolia, and got to meet just so many people, and it was such a great culture exchange. um just going there with open minds. So tell me a little bit about, I know you have 10 cities. Like, when did you start? If I'm sure not many people know about this organization. Give us a little bit of a backdrop as we have a good conversation today on this.
yeah, so I'd say, when you did that trip, Michael, you got bit with the citizen diplomacy bug, because you had that experience of really immersing yourself in another culture and getting to see life from another's perspective. And I think that's the value of sister cities. You really get to see life from another perspective. And this all began from World War II. So when you go back to all the destruction and just conflict that was happening in the world, Eisenhower had a vision to create Sister Cities International, which was then called People to People Corporation. And it was an initiative from the White House to match cities with cities internationally, to stop wars and not have wars happen. Because if we become friends, if our communities start working together and start a relationship and getting to know each other, we won't go to war with each other. And that was the whole concept behind it. And in fact, it's super powerful. Especially, when you look at diplomacy today, it really is now a responsibility of the citizens to be part of this process of diplomacy and being part of the supporting their cities and engaging with other international cities. And that actually ripples out and has an effect on the two countries' diplomacy. And it has a big impact. And also just for our youth, when they go and do exchanges in our sister cities, we found that they become leaders and future leaders, not only for our city, they get more engaged in their city locally because they're now sharing about it and they get more inspired about their city, but then they get to also discover the world. And we find a lot of them end up, for example, I'll give you an example. Our previous mayor did a student exchange with Denver Sister Cities when he was in high school, and then he became the mayor of Denver later on in his life.
Yeah, awesome. So tell me, how did when did your organization start? And then I guess the other question is, so when did you guys start? When were you
Yeah,
founded?
1948 was our first sister city. We
Okay.
were officially we put in our documents and everything in 1960. However, the first sister city began in 1948 when a high school teacher from East High School in Denver went to see the destruction in Brest, France. She was doing student exchanges by boat through New York City, taking a boat to Brest. It was right on the corner of France, Northwest France. And she saw the destruction, and students in Denver raised money to build a children's wellness center in Brest, France. And that was the beginning of the sister city relationships. And since then, in 1960, we created Takayama, Japan as a sister city. And then now we have 10 sister cities throughout the world.
And how did you get involved in this?
So for me, I actually heard about it through a friend. My mom was the committee chair for the Brest, France, Denver sister city. So I started to do some exchanges with her and go to the city and start to make connections in that city. I met a brewer and I connected breweries. We had a brewery exchange where they collaborated on a beer. We had a art exchange with the mural artists. We did plenty of youth exchanges, and I realized just the impact that we were having. And like I was sharing earlier, I think everyone has that moment where they get connected and get bit with that bug of like they find their passion in diplomacy. And I think that's what happened. I was like, I really love doing this. So I actually started out as a volunteer for the last 10 years. So 10 years ago, I started out as a volunteer and continued to volunteer as I was going through my career, and had a transition in my career. I was in health tech doing.
Yeah, that's where I met you. That's
Yeah.
at a healthcare show. You were working on marketing.
Yeah, so
tell
I
us a
was
little
always
bit about that.
volunteering with
Yeah.
sister cities on the side. But then I, when things kind of shifted there, I said, I'm going to dive in full in, and became the director of the organization.
So how are you guys currently funded? Who provides the funding for your organization?
Yeah, so we actually just get a limited amount of funding from the city, which is not very much, just enough for some operational costs. And then we have partners. So different companies can become partners of Denver Sister Cities, and they get access to so many different really amazing opportunities to meet mayors from our sister city when they come to town, join delegations to go to our sister cities. We collaborate with our partners on projects specifically with our sister cities, and it helps us make that impact that we do. So we have some corporate partners like the Denver International Airport, where we try to align our sister city to empower our international flights as well. Because Denver's airport is really, it's got the most space to expand. It's one of the world's largest airports. And Denver's really going to become a global hub for the US here. And it already is, but we're growing really fast. And then our individual members as well. So we have hundreds of citizens in Denver that are members of our organization, and they can join committees that help maintain these sister city relationships. And so each sister city has its own committee that our members really drive the relationship, because obviously I can't be doing 10 sister cities at the same time. So we collaborate as a team between community members, and it's actually a beautiful thing. Yeah.
No, this is awesome. Are there any other cities? Do you see in the next few years more cities coming about, expanding from the 10 now? And if so, which ones are you looking at, hoping to gain more sister cities?
Yeah, so our last sister city, the 10th one, was in 2001. So it's a very difficult process for us in Denver, because we actually dedicate a park to every sister city that we have. So what we're doing now is we're creating a new criteria where we would be able to create new friendship cities, which it starts out as a friendship city, and then it will upgrade to a sister city after a number of years. And so we're just finalizing that process now, because there's so much interest from so many international communities locally and around the world that want to partner with Denver. And so we want to make that possible, not just on a government and business level, but also on a community level, where the individuals get to engage with each other and create relationships as well.
And so tell me your intersection with healthcare. Is there any sort of healthcare? I would imagine there's a lot of opportunity with public health, with education, educating different different sister cities. Is there any connection there to this?
Yeah. So actually, University of Colorado, the Anschutz campus. It's a very large campus here in Aurora, Colorado, but they have a partnership with our Takayama, Japan sister city, where some doctors actually come out and they get to observe the emergency health department there. And so there is exchanging happening where they share best practices and support each other in learnings. So we would like to expand that programming as well, and find other ways to engage our other sister cities with on a healthcare level. So the possibilities are kind of endless there. We just need so we look for partners like different campuses locally that are interested in that, and then try to find a good match and make that partnership. We are in talks about a smart cities, sister cities program, a digital sister cities type of program. So look out for that. That's kind of in the works right now, and there's some conversations happening about doing some work on a smart cities level.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is the biggest aha you've come? So, how long have you been executive director? How long have you been with them?
Since September of 2023, so a little over, yeah, almost 2 years now. So I think the aha moment is that it's not easy. It's not easy.
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
type of stuff is not easy, but I'm really inspired. Yesterday we had our annual meeting and celebration. So every year we gather all the sister cities and our city leaders. We're all there, and um, it was a very beautiful thing to see all these cultures coming together and um, working together, holding hands, and especially in a time like now with
Hmm.
how things are a
Hmm.
little bit, everyone's a little bit on edge with how things are going in the world, and so I think that's just what inspires me about what we do. And I think also with the youth, because I see the youth, we give opportunities to students who normally would never have the opportunity to travel abroad, because thankfully we have some donors who can provide scholarships, which right now we're actually looking for more donations for scholarship funds, because we have 3 opportunities for youth to travel abroad to our sister cities, and then also for students to come here. So we'll be welcoming some basketball youth from Nairobi, Kenya, and we're
Hmm.
celebrating our 50th anniversary of that sister city. But when I see them before they go on these trips, and then I see them after, and they're like completely different human beings. They're totally engaged, and the way they communicate, it just transforms them. It's really an awesome thing to see. And I think right now we're also looking at how do we partner with our city and our business leaders to make sure that together we're strategically growing Denver's as a global city, and a very welcoming, and giving a sense of belonging to the international community that lives here. I talked to some people from Kunming, China, for example, that is one of our sister cities for the last 40 years. And she said having a park dedicated to the city of Kunming, it really does give them, that community, a sense of belonging here in Denver. And then giving Denverites an opportunity to really discover the culture of Kunming, China.
Hmm.
That's what's so unique about Sister Cities. It's bringing our cultures together and just having people realize that we're just human beings and trying to, you know,
Yeah.
about our lives and live a great life. Yeah.
I think what you're doing is very important, and I know I mentioned a little bit earlier about the going to China in 2013, and that was also at that time. It's weird how things, when you get involved, another thing, it's the snowball effect. And when I came back, then we ended up there was a need at school. My wife's a teacher, and we actually sponsored an exchange student from Shanghai for a whole year. So that was
Wow.
another, yeah, we didn't sign up. It just, those things kind of, when it just sort of, there was a need, and
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
less of that's going on right now. It seems,
Mhm.
I guess that was about 2013. So at that point in time, there seemed to be a lot more. It's a private school, and everyone needs enrollment, and it was a great fit for. But my point that I was trying to make is the experience of others in other cultures. There's just nothing like traveling or firsthand experience with people that have a totally different culture. So I think what you're doing is really so important, and the ripple effects of all those things that come from it. And
Mhm.
so, what do you do as a leader, executive director at your organization to try to build out? I hate the word KPIs or the metrics or goal. I know you have a
Mhm.
mission and a vision. How do you, as a director, measure that? And then also, I know you, yeah, aha, you said was, man, it's hard. So I guess it's, to me, it's you are an established organization, but it's kind of like you're in a startup because the endless possibility is here.
Yeah, totally. And nonstop fundraising.
Yeah.
So but no, we measure like our impact with the amount of students that go abroad, the amount of youth that join our Young Ambassador. We call it the Denver Young Ambassador Program. And how many students can we impact? Not just them traveling, but locally sharing about our sister cities at schools, so that students in schools can learn about these different cultures that Denver has relationships with. And because some students are undocumented or they can't travel abroad, and we want them to also have that experience of without having to travel, learn about these other cultures and sister cities. So we do a lot of cultural events locally as well. And we measure the impact of how many citizens come into our cultural events, how many Denverites. But these events are really cool because they bring together not just the Denverites, but the community, the international community as well. So for example, yeah, last year we had Taste of India, and we had the whole Indian community, different vendor booths, and everyone coming together, learning the Bollywood dance, and it was really neat. So we track our events locally. We track our impact on youth locally. We also work with our committees very closely because our committees have different strategic projects that they're working on as well. And they're really the ones that have the pulse on the sister city because they are engaging with our counterparts very often. And so we track how many people are volunteering on those committees, are supporting the different efforts of those projects and the impact those projects are having on our local community, but also in our sister city as well.
So lots of efforts with students. Are there any other demographics that you are trying to extend or impact with your organization?
Yeah, I would say too the older adults, they like we have a lot of retired individuals that have been with our organization since 1970, even 1980s, and it's amazing too to engage them as well because they have some time on their hands and they want to make a difference, and this is an access point for them to do that. So they can join the committees, they can join our community, join our events, and be involved and create and even go and visit our sister cities. So our committees plan delegations for our citizens to actually go there and make their own relationships. Like you said, the snowball effect. Then next thing you know, they're inviting someone over to stay here in their home. So it's just it's really cool too to see kind of our older adults as well as the younger.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you brought
Together.
that up, the knowledge transfer, the culture exchange. Because when you kept on saying students, well, I helped students. My wife's a teacher. I'm 50. All right, so I'm a senior, but not a senior. I don't know what you call me. I could have been
Yeah.
signed up for AARP a long time ago. I think they don't discriminate. If you want to pay, they have a lot of things. But what with that being said, how is this for you? I guess the one thing I'm wondering about is as people listen to this, they're probably like, we do a lot of healthcare shows. Like, why is this guy Michael having this gentleman on with sister cities? What's the well, we're planetary health, it's global, so I guess sister cities is global, right? They're trying to make the world better based on kindness and goodness and respect and love, and so there's some similar messaging there. But the one thing I'm also thinking, here I'm in Virginia. I'm in Virginia Beach. I try to be local, but I try to think globally as well. How can people that aren't from Denver or aren't from those 10, what would you say, how they can get engaged and involved with your organization?
Yeah, so I would say get involved with Sister Cities International. which is the national office in Washington, D.C. So you can actually find out if your city has a Sister Cities program. And if it doesn't, then you can talk to your city council's mayor's office and actually become a member of Sister Cities International and start creating sister city agreements between your city and cities around the world that are a good match, or that you have maybe some healthcare connections in. Talk to your mayor, talk to your city council, and create a sister city. Or if you already have a sister cities program, find out which cities those are and get involved and start engaging with those sister cities, because it breaks the ice. And that's what I say to a lot of business people is when you're going on these sister city delegations, you've already broken the ice. You can just dive in because you're already sister cities, and you can now start working together, and there's a level of trust there.
That's helpful. So
Yeah.
we hear so much about AI, artificial intelligence, technology. You are global. Tell us if there's any connection with you and what you're doing with these kind of really these emerging technologies right now.
Yeah. So Denver is probably one of the most tech forward programs in Sister Cities International programs throughout the U.S. because this is an organization that's been around since 1948. So we have a lot of things that are done in the very manual ways, I should say. So we're trying to automate a lot of things now and create. We've never been so connected, so we can now do exchanges on a virtual level, which we created through COVID. We did so many virtual exchanging, and that's what I'm most excited about. And then also getting young people involved in this, starting to create these different technologies where we can connect very easily with our communities in our sister cities. And AI has been super helpful for that. So I think just being able to create content, one of the things that is important is to share about the exchanges that are happening. So it's not just to do it, but to share about it so that others are inspired to get involved and to also engage in these relationships. And so I found just through technology and the way it's advancing right now, that we're able to really connect with our sister cities, not just on an individual person-to-person level, but with content as well, and supporting each other in attracting visitors to our city, attracting business folks to our city. So it's great for also incoming tourism. And then for businesses who are looking to expand to the U.S., we want them to see Denver as a wonderful possibility for them to land here in Denver and build out their business. So we do try to make those strategic connections with companies on a tech level as well.
Is there any company you would love to work with?
If I could work in any company?
Or like partner with an organization? Are there any types of specific kind of organizations that you think would be really, like, from their kind of like their brand essence, what they represent, that you think would be a great match? I mean, it's so hard. You're the executive director, you're everything, and you're doing so many, but are there any kind of the types of organizations that you might have already identified that you think would be a good fit for your organization? Or if you could message out there to the universe, what would that look like?
Yeah, I think it's a hard question to answer, but I'm going to try and get specific here. But like a tech company, for example, whether it's Apple or Samsung, or let's say also Nike, or any big brand can associate their brand with creating peace in the world by working with us to actually fund and support programs between citizens of cities. And it's an amazing.
I just thought of an idea.
Yeah.
I thought of an idea. Nike could do a Denver Sister Cities shoe and allow it all to be expressed in a creative way to a culture today. right off
Yes,
this conversation. I would imagine
exactly.
that's the sort of thing. You're the connective tissue between hearts to minds to people, and Nike could be a part of that right there.
Exactly, exactly. Make a shoe and maybe it represents both cities and an anniversary or something. And people love that. I mean, because not only is that community going to purchase it, but people here in our community will too. And it also
And I'm sorry
understanding.
I'm interrupting, Sasha, but I kind of think of the ambassadorship of what the Olympics is sort of on a level of what you're doing, because I was trying to think of why it resonated so much. And there's kind of this, you really are like, and not that, I mean, obviously the Olympics is really focused internationally on sports and competition, but so anyway, I'm going to stop and keep on letting you go because you're here today.
No, I think that's a great thing to relate it to the Olympics, because that's the sports level of bringing these countries together. But see, we get to more granular of city to city. This is people that are in your city, so people to people, and that's like a different. That's where that's where we're different from the Olympics. And so when you get local, it gets more, you show people your city, you're proud of your city, you want to show people your city and what it's about. And that's what I love about bringing people together from these different cities, artists, businessmen. I mean, when we look at like we did an artist collaboration about the last 3 years, we've been doing that. And it's just beautiful to see the work of art that comes together when you bring someone from our sister city to work with a local artist here. It's really a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'm inspired, and yeah, there's so many different possibilities that we can create. But the amazing thing that happens is that no matter what is going on in the world politically, this is about people to people.
Mhm.
So we don't, a lot of that noise that's happening, yes, it's important to pay attention to, but we don't want to let that, politics get in the way of people coming together and understanding each other and creating that peace. And we hope that at some point that's actually going to help, stop wars and continue to create peace in the world, which is what we really need.
Yeah. I firmly believe on what you're trying to do. I think we need to be more empathetic, even with ourselves too. I mean, we all struggle, and so
Mm-hmm.
the empathy that we need to have for all people, and it's just really breaking bread. So I'm sure you guys eat a lot. So, and breaking bread,
Yes.
it shouldn't be breaking bread because that's a Western. I guess you could do whatever it is, the term, because some cultures, it might be more rice than bread or whatever it be, right? So just spending
Yeah.
time sharing and listening and getting to know people. Um, what else, as we're kind of wrapping up, want people to know how to find you, what else could they know about you and your organization as we're kind of winding it down?
Yeah. Well, Denver Sister Cities, we're a nonprofit, so denversistercities.org, and you can donate, you can become a member, you could stay in touch with us, and we're not just about Denver. So if you want to talk about any other city, we're happy to help and share some of the best practices we've found. We work very closely with our city government because we have a liaison. Denver has a department, an agency called the Human Rights and Community Partnerships Agency. And we work in partnership with them as a liaison to our mayor's office. And so, really does get our citizens involved to help the city to create these connections internationally. And that can happen on a healthcare level as well. So I really do appreciate you bringing me on to a healthcare podcast, because health is everything. When we talk about people, health is
Mhm.
everything. And,
Yeah.
and so, talking about what we do at Denver Sister Cities and citizen diplomacy, definitely, we'd love to get you involved. And so, whether you're in Denver or not, you can still become a member of Denver Sister Cities, and we're happy to connect and have you be part of our community.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you to coming on. And I know, some people are like, "Well, what's planetary health first, Mars next?" And I say, "Well, it's a mouthful. What is planetary health?" And it's got a big vision. We're really, it's inspired by our little farm. We got a little farm, and we're gonna have solar on it eventually, a solar farm. And that's when I started getting into trying to be more actively involved with trying to do high impact good things and having those conversations. But it is healthcare to all the way to longevity topics, because it's personalized. I mean, if the future of health is when we are able to really have sovereignty over our health and really own our own health. And I tell you, I got a bunch of mushrooms from China, and I use those in my teas and whatnot.
They're the
And
best. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So health is, and if we don't have clean health, we don't have a clean planet. There's no way, whether it's microplastics, sustainability with just taking care of people and the globe. So when I saw you and what you're doing, I knew all the different topics that you're in, and good. I'm so glad you came today, Sasha.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for, I mean, I love your vision, and it's inspiring, and I hope that more people do what you're doing, because we need more people that are making a difference like you are. So I appreciate all that you do.
All right. Well, until next time. And
Till next time, buddy. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Take
So,
care.
but as we say, anything last minute that you want to, I guess people got your information. Anything else,
Yeah.
Sasha?
DenverSisterCities.org. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Sasha Francois Happel. So
Thanks again.
yeah, thanks so much for having me.